Hi everybody, it is May 7, 2020. Hi everybody, it's June 7, 2024. I'm stuck on May. I don't know why. Hello everybody. Hello Alicia and Rage Against the Machine and Wonder Why. Hi. Andrew Cruz, Dean Moore, Agnes, James B, Donna Davidson, hello. And Dude and Barb and Kim and Oracle 11 and not very many. And okay, so I want to thank very much Anna M, Karen W, and David L for your donations. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Ezra, Sith Trish, Darren James Spencer, hello. Let's take a look at radar, shall we? See these extremely low frequencies here in Southern California? Keep that in mind. They're generally on. Right now, they don't seem to be blasting away, but sometimes they really blast away. Earthquake, Newport Beach. Tornado warning, Nebraska. Supercell. Supercells. All the time. Ain't it great? Line up. And do you like that right-angled precipitation? Right here. Nice right angle. Sorry, I just sneezed. Okay, so we've got tornadic activity, we've got hail, we've got severe thunderstorms, possible flash flooding going on Kansas, Nebraska, and into Oklahoma, the Panhandle, New Mexico, and Colorado. Watch out, guys. Be safe, everybody. All right, there was a tornado warning in Custer, Nebraska. And let me refresh. Maybe that has expired. It has. Okay, that doesn't expire the severe weather. That can do an awful lot of damage as well. Look at this mess in the Atlantic. Look at this mess. Look at the cloud coverage all over. Manufactured. All the nanobots. The little blips of precipitation you got here in the Pacific, you got here in Texas, into Arkansas, into Louisiana, all of these little blips that they can create cumulus cloud with all of these blips, which they sure have done over and over and over again. Look at all of the blips in South, Central America. Wow. Not good. Not good. Look at Australia. Wow. Well, you have quite the cloud. Australia, it looks like, I don't know, a leg or an arm. The hell is that? But look at all of the cloud in our atmosphere as I speak. Shouldn't be here. Let's see. An unbelievable tornado. Where? South Africa. That's right, South Africa is known for its tornadoes. Don't you know? After massive flooding in the Eastern Cape, now they have tornadoes.
In today's video, we bring you a detailed report on a devastating series of tornadoes that recently struck the KwaZulu-Natal province in South Africa on June 3, 2024. This natural disaster has resulted in significant loss of life, extensive injuries, and widespread destruction.
For this to be
Our thoughts and prayers are with all those affected by this tragedy. At least 11 people have tragically lost their lives due to the tornadoes that ravaged South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province. The extent of the damage and the number of casualties highlight the severity of this natural disaster. Over 50 others have been injured, some critically, further emphasizing the impact these tornadoes have had on the local communities. The town of Tongaat in northern KwaZulu-Natal was particularly hard hit. This once vibrant community now lies in ruins, with footage showing debris from dozens of wrecked homes scattered across the landscape. The scene is one of utter devastation, as residents grapple with the loss of their homes, possessions, and for some, their loved ones. KwaZulu-Natal Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube has described the damage as extensive. The Premier's statement underscores the scale of the disaster and the challenges that lie ahead in terms of recovery and rebuilding. Authorities are currently assessing the full extent of the damage, and the casualty numbers are expected to rise as rescue and recovery operations continue. The South African Weather Service has confirmed that at least 2 tornadoes struck the province. The first tornado hit between Newcastle and Utrecht in western KwaZulu-Natal. This initial tornado caused significant damage, but it was the second larger tornado that wrought the most havoc. This second tornado developed around Tongaat, a town that bore the brunt of the storm's fury. After forming near Tongaat, the tornado moved eastward, heading towards the coast. It passed through areas near Westbrook and Balito, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The damage in these coastal areas is also extensive, with numerous homes and businesses affected. The path of the tornado showcases the sheer power and unpredictability of these natural phenomena. In response to the disaster, temporary shelters have been provided for displaced families. These shelters offer a semblance of safety and security for those who have lost everything. Authorities are working tirelessly to ensure that all those affected receive the assistance they need during this challenging time. The community has also come together, offering support and aid to their neighbors in need. Those injured in the tornadoes are receiving treatment in hospitals across the province. Medical teams are on high alert, providing critical care to the wounded. The healthcare system is under significant strain, but the dedication and resilience of the medical professionals are commendable. Efforts are being made to ensure that all injured individuals receive the necessary treatment and support. Tornadoes, while relatively rare in South Africa, do occur from time to time, particularly during intense weather systems. This latest event serves as a stark reminder of the destructive potential of these natural disasters.
Natural. It's natural. I'm going to post the link just in case any of you want to subscribe to Alerts On. So, yeah, South Africa. That was a pretty bad tornado. And South Africa. Didn't know you guys got tornadoes, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist who's off her meds, I guess. Tanker truck hauling 5,000 gallons of fuel catches fire in North Texas. Was it an accident? What happened?
We have some breaking news to bring you here at 4. A
tanker truck fire here in DeSoto has forced the evacuation of some homes nearby. Look at that fire go. You can tell by the color of that smoke. It's black, that fuel source there. This is a live look from our chopper at West Parkerville Road and South Cockrell Hill. Now, we're told the truck is carrying 5,000 gallons of fuel. The flames have just only increased in the past 15 to 30 seconds that we've been watching this here in the studio. Again, we're told that truck has 5,000 gallons of fuel. So the intersection there is closed, and you can understand why. You see them spraying that water, trying to get it under control. Officials are asking residents close to this location to evacuate their homes. This is a serious situation there in DeSoto. This includes residents within West Parkerville Road to Summerside Drive to the north, and then Richard Pittman Drive to the south, Ellerson Road to the east, and then Keswick Drive to the west. Again, a tanker truck fire here in DeSoto is forcing the evacuation of nearby homes. It looks like they're starting to tamp down on this, but boy, those flames and that smoke just grew right in front of our eyes as this all kind of flared up, Jesse. And you can tell by the direction that this fire is going that the winds are playing a factor here.
Yeah, you see how close that residential area is there. It looks like on the corner. I assume that's what that is. And you know, the winds are coming from the south right now. They're gusting up to 25. And so that truck is facing west. You see the smoke and all the flames are kind of being blown to the north toward that corner there. So I hope it looks like it's dramatically improved. Just
yes.
We've been talking about it.
In just the last few seconds, shout out to the crews that are there working to get this thing under control. It's at West Parkerville Road and South Cockrell Hill Road. So if you live nearby in that area, they're asking you to get out of your homes because that's 5,000 gallons of fuel that is on fire right now. High winds in the area. And again, they haven't even gotten all the flames out. You see how far back they are trying to get some water and fire suppressant on this tanker truck. But boy, what a scene on this Friday.
2 minutes into a mainstream media report on this tanker fire, did you hear anything about the driver? And did you hear anything about the cause? No. This is a 6-minute video. I'll put the link in if any of you want to listen to it and see if they mention anything about the driver, anything about the cause of this apparent explosion of a tanker truck. No, there was no accident. But wow, it does look, well, if the driver was in there, the driver is no longer. 3.6 magnitude earthquake hits Newport Beach area. And guess what? It was a really shallow earthquake. Quake hit just before 5 p.m. at a depth of about 7 miles. It struck about 1.5 miles from Newport Beach. And a 3.4 magnitude aftershock hit the same area minutes after. What? Long Beach, Anaheim, Los Angeles, San Bernardino. That's the expanse of this very shallow depth of about 7 miles. So when you have these shallow earthquakes, you can guess, extremely low frequencies, that area of California is known for having extremely low frequencies that blast away pretty much 24/7. Yeah, call me crazy. And man, are they on the heat. The heat. So somebody wrote that they blocked out the sun in Arizona. They didn't block it out enough, not where I am. And it's the weirdest thing. I've never experienced this, but you're out there for 5 minutes. It feels like your legs are burning. Anything that, I'm wearing shorts and, just a t-shirt. I feel like my arms are burning. My legs are burning. That's from the blocked out sun. It is really bad. So I think it got up to 108 here, where I am in Arizona. But But I don't even have to talk to Arizonans to know that these are the temperatures that I have seen in Arizona over the years. It's not unprecedented, but boy, are they pushing it as if it's unprecedented.
Millions of people across the western U.S. are in the grips of an oppressive, record-breaking heat wave with temperatures topping 110 degrees in some areas. Phoenix reached a scorching 113 degrees yesterday, forcing local officials to open cooling centers and close some popular hiking trails during the day. Las Vegas reached a record 111 degrees yesterday. This is the earliest 111-degree temperature reading on record for the city. That's where we find our CBS News senior national and environmental correspondent, Ben Tracy. Ben, I know it's earlier there, but I'm sure it is still hot. These temperatures are really dangerous, especially so soon. How are cities keeping people safe?
Yeah, so we're looking at about 109 degrees here today. So if you want to call that a cool down from 111, I guess you could, but I don't think anyone's going to notice the difference here today. But yes, extreme heat is extremely dangerous. It's often called the silent killer, and it is the...
Oh, God. Look, I'm going to put the link in. I can't listen to any more of this because, you know, again, I'm going to show you. After the live, I go outside. And, well, I'd say that this is probably about 20 minutes or a half hour after the live. No, 20 minutes. This was the sky. This, well, I actually have another one that was a wee bit earlier. So you can see already. So this was probably only 10 minutes after the live last night. You can see all of the black carbon dust. It's quite present in the atmosphere. What can they do with black carbon dust? They can increase the atmospheric heat. That's what they can do. You see that frequency, that blip of the camera going out of focus and snapping right back in, another one? So they use the frequencies to spread all of the black carbon dust, and it creates a whole lot of heat. But they can also increase the size of clouds with black carbon dust, and they can enhance rain with black carbon dust. Oh, there's an awful lot they can do with black carbon dust. So let me show you what it looked like just a little bit, I'd say 10 or 15 minutes later. People see this. Older people see this. Baby boomers see this. Gen Xers see this. Is everybody just so afraid to say anything? Or do they think that this is what? A beautiful sunset? This is an extremely dangerous, toxic sunset. All the lithium, all of the black carbon dust, all of the aluminum, all of the strontium, all of it. You know, I mean, that's another frequency. So, but if it was a sunset, why? Why is the sunset, you can do a 360 and you're still getting the sunset? No, the sunset is right here. Why do we have such colorful clouds in the back, in the opposite direction? Look at this. It's just a horror show. Another frequency. You know, and they're irregular pulses, which are very dangerous because life, you know, if they were regular pulses, you know, then your body could adjust to them, life could adjust to them. You cannot adjust to something that is so irregular. The pulses themselves, these are the pulses that you are looking at right now. The pulses themselves have a different timing. So you can't adjust. It is maddening. It's only getting more maddening. You know, I think a lot of people are just so used to this, and it's, you know, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Okay. So, but, you know, for those of us who have really kind of maintained our sanity, maintained, you know, and not that it hasn't been diminished, but our cognitive abilities, yes, it gets very maddening. California's latest tax idea, charge drivers by the mile. It's coming, California, which has the highest income rate in the country, 14.4%. It has the highest statewide sales tax rate, 7.25%. It also has local sale taxes. It has the highest gas rate tax, close to $1. Oh, that hurts. Yet it ranks third to last in the country in terms of road quality. Can you not get that your government is taking you down, California? The state faces up to a $55 billion deficit this year, causing it to consider a host of additional taxes, including a wealth tax. California has long relied upon the gas tax to take care of its roads. But I guess that didn't work. So we're going to hit the drivers with a tax on how many miles you drive. Boeing, another one. Boeing 777 engine shoots fireballs during takeoff in Canada.
Holy crap! Got an engine fire! Holy shit! Holy shit!
Wow, man. Boeing planes back in the news this week after a Paris-bound Air Canada flight with nearly 400 passengers experienced engine issues shortly after takeoff. Video footage that you just saw, fireballs shooting from the rear of one of its engines. After the aircraft landed, it was inspected by airport response vehicles as per normal operating processes, and it taxied to the gate on its own. The aircraft will be taken out of service for further evaluation. Boeing, I think you need to just, I don't know, on your website, clear all information and just put R.I.P. My God. Someone has to stop Boeing from flying. Inside the most ridiculous jobs report in years. Oh yes, we get ridiculous job reports every month. They lie through their teeth. They lie through their teeth. The BLS reported that in May, the U.S. unexpectedly added a whopping 272,000 payrolls, not workers. Just fudge the numbers. Americans don't care, even if they know you're lying. Who cares? Let it rip. Let the empire come to a close. Well, that's gonna hurt for a lot of people. A whole lot. 20,000 pounds of beef sold in Oregon and 3 other states recalled. We've got a lot of recalls going on. A lot of products, but a lot of food recalled. If you can't trust your food, I can only imagine what they're going to say. Then what can you trust? Oh, USA Today. Don't you think you're a little late in the game to even put that up? It's kind of a joke that you put that up because a whole lot of people lost trust in their food a long time ago. It's not good, guys. But if you want to learn about more recalls, I will put the FDA list of recalls. The link is in the chat. Drugs, products, foods, beverages, strawberry rhubarb, Bakewell tart. This is just the first page. Powdered goat milk, infant formula, ground black pepper, whole cucumbers. Yeah, I'm just doing the foods. Infant formula, mixed, munch regular, and honey barbecue. Alright, that's just the first page, but they've got a lot of pages. Virginia triple homicide suspect arrested in West New York. Oh my God. We've got a lot of people pulling out guns. We've got a lot of violent people. What is wrong with Americans? What's going on? Don't we know? Turn up those electromagnetic frequencies. Whole lot of people who are, well, transformed by products or breathing in nanobots, then hit with electromagnetic frequencies. Oh well.
Well, also new tonight, a Virginia woman is now in custody following a high-speed chase in the Southern Tier. Now, according to authorities, 23-year-old Alyssa Jane Venable is accused of killing her 3 roommates in what authorities are calling a heinous crime. A 65-year-old woman and 2 men ages 60 and 77 were found dead in their Virginia home Tuesday night. Less than 24 hours ago, New York State Police saw Venable's vehicle in Allegheny County and attempted to pull it over. She's accused of then leading police on a pursuit across county lines that reached 100 miles per hour. Police say a tire deflation device was used to crash the car, and Venable was finally taken into custody in Steuben County.
We were able to take a very dangerous person into custody with no injury to any police officers.
Well, that's good, isn't it? Now, 10,000 illegal aliens using the same exact social security number voted in the November 3rd, 2020 election. And this is just in the border state of Arizona. Katie Hobbs, of course she belongs in prison. A whole lot holding powerful office need to be in prison.
We discovered 10,000 people using the exact social security number. See if this one rings true. You take an illegal, you bring them in. They sign a piece of paper promising to pay taxes. What they get is a social security number. so the employers can take out the taxes. Put a pin in that. Here's what they do. In cities like this, let's think of a chicken processor. They will bring in hundreds of illegals. They will spread them out across all of these plants and factories, giving them jobs. They're all using the same social security number. The IRS unconnected our names from the social security number. Now when you look it up, it just pings to see if there's an employer. If there is, it says it's good, it validates it. Why do they do that? Because all of these factories are giving them social security numbers. The government turns its back on it. As soon as you have a social security number and you go over to motor voter, pass the driver's test, right? You get a driver's license. The person, look, you got a social, you must be a citizen. That's how they pack the rolls. By the way, those guys don't pay taxes anyway. It's taken out by companies. Our government's been sitting on $1.7 trillion slush fund that one fund has still in it to this day. So if you want to know where the dark money comes from. By the way, that's what, $100 million a month in interest. I could go on. I now understand this is why they tried to kill us. And it's not stuff I wanted to know. It's not stuff I wanted to know about my country. It's not stuff I believed. But we have a uniparty. We don't have multiple parties. Everybody's benefited from this at one time or another.
Uniparty. Uniparty. What does that mean? One party. And boy, are they partying. The people, not so much. How about Social Security? It's just a big scam.
This is all a scam. I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. It's impossible. Because what happens, it comes up here, we spend it. We're $35 trillion in debt. We don't have union money. We're dead broke. And then taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt. We are in huge trouble. In this body, we had better start figuring that out, because we're going to have a run on this city here soon, and there's going to be about 150 million people coming up here saying, where's our damn money that we paid in? I could have put my Social Security money 40 years in tax in the market and probably be worth 8 to 10 million today. But the federal government wasted it. So I'll get off my horse there. But it's good that we have this, because we got, I get a little pension check from education. I was part of a union. It's not going to help people. People are going to have to continue to work longer and longer. Am I right, Ms. Ginger?
But none of them have to worry. They don't have to worry. Riot fences going up to protect that great White House for, I guess, a pro-Palestine protest tomorrow.
Riot control fence. This is the anti-scale fencing we've seen many times at the White House. Coming up tonight in anticipation of a protest this weekend. Hey Bob, how you doing? We have a rather large protest coming this weekend. Gaza protesters. So they're anticipating thousands of... The Gaza protesters say they are going to surround the White House completely on Saturday. Police are not having that, so they're throwing up the riot fence. This is the anti-scale fence that is supposedly impossible to climb.
right, should you want to watch the 22 minutes of the riot fence going up, the link is in the chat. They have great protection. Us, not so much. Bedford, Massachusetts woman charged with murdering her parents.
Windows as they photographed and collected evidence.
Cuffed and standing before a judge, accused in the double murder of her own parents. Police say the family was going out to breakfast when she shot them in the head. As WBC's Julie McDonald reports, we still don't know why she allegedly pulled the trigger.
The two victims, both 56 years old, did not live at this Washington Street address. We're told they were coming to pick up their daughter when something terrible happened. A heartbreaking return home Thursday evening. As crime scene investigators finally cleared out, the owners of this house went back inside. It was 12 hours prior that a deadly double shooting shook this Bedford neighborhood.
We got two gunshot victims in the car. We got one suspect under custody right now.
The flash of investigators' cameras lit up the windows as they photographed and collected evidence. Police are trying to piece together what happened in the moments before 24-year-old Jessica Cavallaro allegedly shot her parents out front.
That this defendant had gone to work that day as normal, that she came home unexpectedly, that her parents were going to take her out to breakfast, that she got in the back of the vehicle, that she used a firearm. She shot both of them in their heads.
The 24-year-old lived with her boyfriend and his parents, to whom she allegedly confessed.
That resident reported that a young woman who resided in their home had just come back into the house and reported that she had shot her parents.
The victims, Thelma Tatton and Mark Cavallaro, also lived in Bedford. Their longtime landlord devastated and confused.
It's way shocking. It's beyond words. That's why I don't feel up for talking.
Neighbors along both streets stunned by this deadly violence that tore apart a family. Cavallaro was held without bail. The 24-year-old did not have a license to carry. Investigators say a weapon was found at the scene. She'll be back in.
You really do have to wonder what the hell is going on, because this is happening on a daily basis all over our country. Family killing family. And how many of you have people that are close to you that may be getting programmed? We don't know. And that's the unfortunate reality that we live. We do not know. We don't know anyone. Best you can do is do the work necessary so that you can know who you are, the best that that's possible. Outside of that, whether online or not online, in real life, you hardly know what, who, and where, and how. I mean, it's gotten to the point where, like, I'll ask, how many of you trust people? How many? I don't trust anyone. No one at this point. And that really sucks. And you want to know the real murderers? They were dying at a rate of 300 per week. Care home relatives in Scotland. The real murderers are in government. Not that they're any more real than those on the street pulling the trigger and killing people. Not saying that. But the mass murdering that's going on a daily basis, those who we bow down to, not you guys or me, but a whole lot, don't do anything about the mass murder that takes place by government.
They were dying at a rate of 300 a week. Over a 12-month period, 16,000 residents died, and many of whom hadn't seen loved ones until their final hours. Good morning. My Lord, I represent Care Home Relatives Scotland and CHRS, and CHRS Lost Loved Ones, which I will hereinafter refer to as CHRS. As at March this year, around 40,000 of Scotland's population lived in residential care homes. Children, husbands, wives, grandparents. The community is very diverse in terms of range and age of disabilities. All are individuals with thoughts, feelings, memories, family bonds, and crucially, the same rights to life, equality, and dignity as those in wider society. On behalf of CHRS, it is submitted that during the COVID-19 pandemic, residents in care homes and their relatives suffered an unnecessarily disproportionate impact on their lives, which left them at times feeling isolated, unheard, and discriminated against. CHRS recognises the challenge presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it asks this inquiry to consider carefully the very particular impact experienced by those in care homes and their relatives as a consequence of the restrictions imposed. And many of these impacts are still being felt today, when the rest of society has returned to normal and we're looking at the COVID years with hindsight. For many, these consequences have been permanent. CHRS was established in August 2020 to...
The link is in the chat if you want to listen to the full. It's a 13 $300 a week. So the next pandemic, do you think that things will be better? I don't think so. We might have a lot of people that just say no more, those who have woken up from the first pandemic. But then we'll have, this is just my speculation, we'll have an awful lot who do comply. There'll be an awful lot of censorship and attacks on the anti-vaxxers. And law enforcement, we're going to see law enforcement like we've never seen them before, working on people that they shouldn't be working on. That's just my guess. I hope I'm wrong. Here, semi-truck driver arrested in 210 freeway. This is in California. Shooting. Really? Everybody's pulling out guns now?
Come forward. That driver facing a charge of attempted murder. This is where it all wrapped up. You can see here where truck drivers transition from the 5 to the 14. Take a look. You can see the area on the back of the deputy's white Infiniti where a bullet apparently pierced it. We also have video of that semi-driver being arrested. CHP officers say he is 28-year-old Jaime Aguilar from Delano and that they seized a handgun. A CHP spokesperson says an off-duty LA County deputy called 911 right about 9:15, saying he'd been on the 210 westbound near Allen in Pasadena when the driver of a 2023 Freightliner began following him. He told them he exited at Lake Avenue, heard a gunshot, pulled into a nearby gas station and saw what looked like a bullet hole. Now, CHP officers ultimately stopped that Freightliner about 27 miles away here on the 5 and say the driver was taken into custody without incident. That off-duty deputy was not hurt. He did end up here as the investigation wrapped up, but it's not clear if he helped with tracking the semi, which was not pulling a trailer. And back here live, what led up to this gunfire?
What led up to this gunfire? On freeways, main roads, interstates, you have an awful lot of extremely low frequencies that can make people very violent if they emit a particular frequency. And they do know the frequencies of what could cause depression, what could make you violent, what could make you despairing, what could make you anxious, yada, yada, yada. Too bad that this is what we are living, but it is what we are living. T-Lan. Hi. And you know a 44-year-old in a coma as I speak due to a blood clot in the brain. Wow. And this is a really good idea, don't you think so?
What?
We're definitely a pioneer in this approach.
A tentative plan to send a team of unarmed social workers to some emergency 911 calls in Cambridge could officially be rolled out as soon as next month, says Liz Speakman, director of the city's new Community Assistance Response and Engagement.
Having an unarmed civilian with experience in mental health going to mental health calls is really the right response.
Speakman tells us that the 5 members of the CARE team have extensive backgrounds as social workers and first responders. Unlike some other alternative response programs recently deployed in other cities across the country, the CARE team will not be accompanied by police when they are sent to nonviolent mental health related calls.
So someone calls 911 and says, this is an emergency. I guess they're asked then, is it a violent emergency? And the person says, oh, no, it's not. It's a non-violent mental health emergency. So please send out your unarmed social workers. And that woman. And we know that that's the right response. Extensive backgrounds these young people have in social work. Nothing like setting people up. It's also domestic violence. You kidding? This man put a GPS tracker in his recycling. Recycling is bullshit. It's just bullshit. And I think that they started this to get an awful lot of those aluminum cans for the nanoparticulates that they're spraying. But look where his recycling went.
There's even minimal
for you to see where our recyclables actually end up. This comes after a CBS 8 viewer conducted an experiment and reached out to us with some alarming findings.
Yeah, CBS 8's Jenny Day has more from Del Mar.
Many of us are very conscious to do our part and put our recyclables here in the blue bin. So one man was very disheartened to find his plastic still ended up in a landfill.
My way of showing my appreciation for nature and giving back a little bit. And if I leave it a little cleaner than I found it, I feel like it's a good thing.
Every Monday, Kevin Grold brings his bins to the curb, recycling all that he can to help the environment.
I always try to make sure my recycling bin is just the way it should be. You know, I follow the rules, I put the things in the right place.
To make sure his recyclables were indeed being recycled, he got an idea to track his trash.
That ended up in the landfill.
He told me he bought this plastic GPS tracking device for only $8 online, taped it to this bottle, and within a few hours, watched it go from Del Mar to a recycling center in Escondido.
And I'm like, oh, cool, it's where it should be, right? And then I keep watching it, and a few hours later, it keeps moving. It goes north, farther and farther north. It ended up in Riverside. I'm like, oh no, and I look, it's at a landfill in Riverside.
I reached out to EDCO multiple times starting yesterday morning, but have not heard back. I did find on their website, though, information about how careful we need to be when sorting. Because
yes, sort that recycling. And you recycle with fire. Really? You recycle plastic? You burn up plastic? All right, and this is how crazy we are. believable. Just, well, I don't know if it's unbelievable. It's just so believable that it really depresses you.
Atmore is living her dream, representing.
And listen how excited is this news reporter.
The state of Alabama in the National American Miss Program. WKRG News 5 Summer Pool introduces us to this inspiring young woman.
Now, I don't want to be harsh, but isn't this supposed to be a beauty contest? Because people have been being kind of harsh. One fella says that he didn't know this was a Miss Jack-in-the-Box contest. This is not supposed to be all-you-can-eat buffet contest, is it? I'm a little confused because they said that she's been entering this contest for at least 8 years. She's 23 now. She's been entering some type of contest, beauty pageant contest, since she was 15.
I competed once as a junior teen when I was 15, again as a teen when I was 16, and not placing, that was really, really hard.
Now at 23, the famous saying rings true, third time's a charm.
Just being able to come back 8 years later and say, okay, I didn't give up on this dream, and now, because I didn't give up on it, I get to be the next Miss Alabama and wear this crown for a year.
And we went this far as a society that we're pretending as if this is healthy. A lot of people may be struggling. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I get all of that. But this is not a personality contest. She may be the sweetest girl in the world. But last time I checked, this was supposed to be a damn beauty pageant, right?
Getting that win took a lot of hard work.
I worked literally every single day for 365 days.
I beg your pardon? You worked for 365 days? At the Golden Corral or something? I mean, what did you work on? Because I'm interested to know. I mean, I want to know exactly what she was working on for 365 days.
It wasn't a day that I wasn't practicing my on-stage speech or my introduction, interview.
And Milliken says what you see on stage barely scratches the surface of what this program has meant to her.
It was honestly so amazing. I met so many amazing, just accomplished, empowering women. That was definitely the best part.
Milliken will now represent Alabama at the national pageant on Thanksgiving week.
Young lady.
Taking down all institutions. All institutions. This is how insane this country is. It's a reflection of the American people. We obviously just are allowing this to continue and continue and continue. Yeah, it's the normalization of obesity. They claim it's healthy to be, you're healthy if you're obese. And we know that that's not true. But when you see this, the beauty pageant, okay, I'd like to get rid of all beauty pageants. But since we have them, there's a standard, unfortunately. But we do know that there's a standard. Bust through those standards. It's so reprehensible because it's so humiliating. It's just humiliating. No, I did not, Louisiana, Skywatch. I didn't hear about a boat that crashed into a bridge in Louisiana at least 3 months before the bridge reopens. Small bridge, but that's a needed bridge. No, I didn't hear. Am I surprised? No. Yeah, there's no standards, rules change, you know, and it's demoralizing. Alex Jones liquidating InfoWars for sale. You know what I thought? The first thing I thought, was, Alex may know what's coming. Maybe he wants as much money as he can get before he heads to the bunkers. It is a humiliation ritual for all Americans. That's exactly right. Yeah, I really don't like seeing the young girls in these beauty pageants. And I'm talking young. Like, parents will put them through these beauty pageants at the age of 7, 8, 9. That, whoa. So what's going on, Alex? InfoWars for sale. Operatives with Republican ties helping Cornel West. How Reverend CEO allegedly stole $1 billion in crypto scam. Jesus was best affiliate marketer in the world. Oh, God. Russian warships, including nuke sub missile frigate, will arrive in Cuba next week. I don't think we're going to have another Kennedy. No, those days are gone. Oceans can no longer protect America. That's right. Brits invade American newsrooms. The British are coming. The British are coming. The British never left. The British never left. Internet addiction in adolescents can negatively affect brain function. Study. How many studies? How many studies over the years have we seen that these kids holding cell phones, looking at screens on the internet, are destroying their brains? Well, I've posted a lot on it. Do parents care? No. No. A whole lot do not care. If they did, they would not allow their children to bring their cell phones to school, and they would not be buying them cell phones at such a young age, and they would make sure that they didn't have access to the internet. Oh, like people like Steve Jobs. Yeah. You know, Apple. Steve Jobs wouldn't let his children have cell phones or this technology because he knew the dangers of this technology. And a whole lot, and I've posted those videos, a whole lot of the techies, you know, in San Francisco, the parents, they send them to schools where those schools don't have Wi-Fi. Whew, look, when you have an awful lot of parents who don't really love or care about their children, they just think they do, you're not going to have, you're going to have a messed up society. Society is a reflection of the family unit in the aggregate. So, retail bloodbath, more than 2,600 stores closing so far. We're in the 6th month. We can't even say until July 1 that we were 6 months in, but already 2,600 store closings have been announced. Retail stores shutting down, staggering rate all over the country. If we stay on the pace that we are on, the total number of stores closed in 2024 will be nearly 40% higher than the total number of stores closed in 2023. And this is what you call a crisis. Banks are shuttering hundreds of branches coast to coast. There's a restaurant apocalypse sweeping across the nation. Everywhere around us, space available signs going up on buildings that, were once considered prime real estate, commercial real estate. Macy's, Walmart, Walgreens, Foot Locker, 7-Eleven, all closing shops. Family Dollar, 99 cents only. CVS, Rite Aid. Oh boy. Well, yeah. The collapsing empire. And isn't it fun, Americans? Don't you feel exceptional that you get to live in it? U.S. bombers drop live munitions in threat to North Korea. Do you think we provoke countries? Does anybody even need to ask that? We just provoke all countries. It's like, full spectrum dominance. It's what the U.S. is angling for. In the New World Order, who will come out with the most power? German defense chief calls for war readiness by decade's end. Crazy people. The Western leaders, they don't care about the people that they're supposed to be representing. We must provide deterrent. All right, this is where a moment ago I had the hiccups. Now they're gone. But now a tickle in my throat. Where did it come from? Just me talking? Deterrence. To prevent things coming to the worst. Yes. Minister Boris Pistorius, German defense minister, says Russia will not stop at Ukraine. Putin won't stop at the Ukraine borders. Russia is a threat to Georgia, Moldova, and ultimately to NATO. Wow, man. Do you think maybe we Westerners need to do something about our leaders? Where the hell did that come from? Maybe it was a nanobot that got caught in my throat. Leader of the free world apologized to Zelensky. That's right. Look at him. Look at these people. Oh my God. Oh, how sickening. Apologizes. Yes, and then blamed the Republicans for the delay of the $61 billion. The $61 billion it was delayed. We didn't get it to you fast enough. $61 billion out of $95 billion passed. And of course, blamed the Republican opposition that held it up. So he handed Zelensky a $225 million check. We got more money coming, Zelensky. Get your washing machines all ready. launder that money, we're making you a real big fortune, but we're making ourselves a bigger fortune. So thanks, and we apologize. Risking PR disaster, Netanyahu to address Congress. That's right, invite the war criminal. Invite the genocidal maniac. Invite the psychopath to speak to Congress. An address of a joint session, Democrats, Republicans, and you know damn well that both sides of the uniparty will give him standing ovations. Because we're as sick as that genocidal maniac in Israel. Walmart to replace paper shelf labels. That's a weird segue, but hey. Paper shelf labels with digital price screens in 2,300 stores. They're expanding this digital labels because it will allow them to update prices on over 120,000 items within minutes. There's not going to be much need for workers. Yeah. All right, here we go. Sudan. Another genocide. Ethnic cleansing in Darfur. And it's very real. It's horrific in Sudan. I saw this video. I will link to it. I can't see it again. Burying people alive. Yeah. And guess who is behind this? One of the partners, the maniac, the psychopath partnership in this genocide in Darfur. You got it. Do I have to name the country? Isn't it a given?
Turn now to a conflict that is very rarely covered, and certainly not covered to the extent that it should be, which is in Sudan, where a humanitarian catastrophe in North Darfur is escalating, as Human Rights Watch has documented. On Wednesday, the United Nations humanitarian coordinator for Sudan said people are, quote, trapped in an inferno of brutal violence between the army and paramilitary forces, which has made it hard to deliver aid, and now, quote, famine is closing in for more than 4 million people. Also on Wednesday, the United States imposed sanctions against 2 commanders of Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces. This is human rights lawyer Jamal Abdul Khamis describing how he nearly escaped a massacre orchestrated by the Rapid Security Forces, or RSF. He spoke in a video for a new Human Rights Watch report titled Sudan, Ethnic Cleansing in West Darfur.
I was accompanying my injured friend, Youssef Arun Kabalo. Minutes later, around 8 militiamen wearing Rapid Support Forces uniforms appeared. There were others with them from these well-known...
All right, I'm going to put the link in. Yes, the U.S. Africa Command is training an awful lot of these militias all over Africa. Oh, we had a congressional hearing on it. And the head of AFRICOM was questioned and put on the spot. about arming and training these militias that are toppling governments and causing this kind of violence. And of course he said, well, you know, we train, but we don't train them to topple governments or... And that congressional hearing was a real success, as you can see. UN is to place Israel on a global blacklist for violations against Palestinian children. Yeah. It's a list of shame.
Go to some breaking news now. The United Nations is to add Israel to a global list of offenders for committing violations against children. Now, this move was revealed by Israel's UN ambassador, who, along with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has reacted angrily to the move. Gabriel Elizondo joins us now from UN headquarters in New York. What further reaction has there been from there, Gabe?
Well, the UN is being asked a lot of questions about this, of course, but right now, as of this very moment, the UN is not commenting on this and not confirming this either. Now, the Secretary General's spokesperson is about to have a briefing with journalists, his regular briefing that he has almost every day. We'll be asking him about this, but so far, the Secretary General's office is not confirming this and not commenting on this. That could change now, though, in the coming minutes or even hours, because, as you mentioned, we're hearing out of Israel confirmation that they have been put on this, what's so-called list of shame. This is an annual report that's put out by the Secretary General looking at countries or different organizations and how they don't protect children in armed conflict. It's called the Children in Armed Conflict Report, actually, and this would be the first time Israel is put on this report, known as the informally known as the list of shame for the countries that are put on it, because according to what we're hearing, at least, it's due to the war on Gaza.
I will put the link. No, there's just a few more seconds. Look, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. And Israel's central bank is launching the Digital Shekel Challenge. Okay, well, there's a lot of countries. This digital money is coming out, guys. And I think a whole lot of people are going to be surprised at how soon it develops. You know, all they need to do is for Russia to attack European nations, the US, NATO gets involved, World War III, boom! They've got all of the deniable plausibility. That doesn't sound right. Is that what it is? I know it's plausibility. Well, wow, my brain. For the crash of the economy, to bring in the digital coin, the Fed coin, and for martial law. Oh, it's going to be very exciting. It's just going to be very, very exciting. I think a lot, even in the awake crowd, are not getting how horrifically bad things are already. And, you know, I do say, I hope people are prepared, but I don't see how people can survive what's coming. And frankly, you know, it's like, do you really want to survive it? Even those who have prepped up the wazoo, Well, official World War III. Confiscation, then. We need that food. We need that water for our soldiers. And then they have an awful lot of government officials confiscating all of the preps. That's why it wasn't a very good idea to have a whole lot of preppers talking about how much they were prepping and what they have. But you know, it's a plausible deniability. Thank you, T-Lab. The hell is wrong with my brain? What is wrong with my brain? That's why I have said in the past, several times, that, you know, people spend every moment just prepping and prepping and prepping, but not working on what is really important. Creating relationship within their communities, you know, pulling together, making sure that they are trustworthy and that those community members are trustworthy, that they can work together, because what I have seen with subscribers prepping, they don't have anyone outside of their little prepping nest, which is individuals prepping and then, you know, a family prepping. But outside of that, and a whole lot of people in the community know what they have. So, I think we're living unprecedented times, and I'm with you, T-Lam. I don't think that there's a way to prepare for what is coming. It's overloaded, Carol. You need a break for a few days. What are you talking about? SCDHL. Oh, my brain is overloaded. No, I'm forgetting more and more and more. It's concerning. I'm not liking it, but it is what it is. And what would I do? I have nothing in my life to do. Nothing. Zip. So, and frankly, this is my only routine. So I get scared of long breaks, even just for a couple of days, because it will be harder for me to get back into it. And that's one of the reasons why I just keep going and going and going. So, we're all looking, no matter how much you've prepped, even for those who haven't prepped, we're all looking at a really rough road ahead of us. Oh, that was the digital. Okay. And here, diplomats walk out during Israeli ambassador's speech at the UN in Geneva, Switzerland. Apocalyptic. 40 killed in Israeli airstrike on UN school sheltering Palestinians in Gaza. It just continues and continues. Do you think Netanyahu cares that the United Nations has put him on the shame list? I wish the Israelis would really care and all come together to stop this madness, because Netanyahu's always going to be fine. I don't think you guys are. The citizens. It always comes back on the citizens.
Known by its acronym, UNRWA. The Israeli military claimed it targeted Hamas militants operating in the school, but provided no evidence to back up its claim. UNRWA schools across Gaza have functioned as shelters for displaced Palestinians since the start of Israel's war on Gaza. Last week, Israeli airstrikes hit close to an UNRWA facility in the southern city of Rafah, where tens of thousands had sought shelter, setting tents ablaze and killing at least 45 people. Over 36,600 people have been killed in Israeli military air attacks in Gaza over the past 8 months, with over 83,300 injured. For more, we're joined by UNRWA spokesperson Tamara Al-Rafai. She joins us from Amman, Jordan. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Tamara. Can you explain what happened at about 1:30 in the morning Gaza time?
Yes, hi, Amy, and thank you so much for giving UNRWA always a space and a platform on Democracy Now! What we understood from our colleagues in Gaza, given how patchy telecommunication is that indeed an Israeli strike hit one of our shelters. Originally, this was a school, but since the beginning of the war, this school in Nusayrat in the middle part of Gaza, like many, many other UNRWA schools across the Gaza Strip, have housed people who have been repeatedly displaced as the conflict in Gaza evolved, evicting them and forcing them to leave their homes, leave loved ones, and leave their things behind. The strike happened around 2 a.m., and from what we understand, there are between 35 and 45 people killed. Many of them are children. We also remind that this being an UNRWA shelter, up to 6,000 people had sought refuge and safety inside that school, just like many, many other displaced people of the 2 million population of Gaza have been seeking a safe haven, but it hasn't been safe inside UNRWA shelters. I say that it's not safe because more than 170 UNRWA buildings, most of them serving as shelters, have been hit since the beginning of the war, killing more than 450 people. And by the way, UNRWA has lost so far 193 of my colleagues, all of them killed since the beginning of this war.
If you want to listen to the rest of the interview, the link is in the chat. Yeah, I guess this war is not about winning the hearts and minds of anyone. It's what we are seeing, not that the violence is unprecedented, but it's unprecedented that we get to see it. And it goes on and on and on without stop, endless. Will other countries come to their aid to stop it? To stop the United States and Israel from this slaughter of innocent people, children? Israel's widespread use of white phosphorus in Lebanon. Gaza violates international law. Who cares? Israel, United States, They can violate international law, and then they have their spokespeople say, we're not in violation. Oh, okay, now I can go back to doing whatever the hell I was doing. Shit, man.
Israeli forces have illegally dropped white phosphorus munitions on densely populated residential areas in southern Lebanon, forcing many residents to flee. That's according to a new report by Human Rights Watch documenting Israel's use of the chemical in at least 17 municipalities across southern Lebanon since October, including 5 towns where the shells struck several residential buildings. White phosphorus poses a high risk of excruciating burns and lifelong suffering, and its use as an incendiary weapon in civilian areas is a war crime, which under U.S. law should have implications for continuous military aid to Israel. The Intercept's Ryan Grimm questioned State Department spokesperson Matt Miller Thursday about the Human Rights Watch report.
We've seen tons of reports now about the use of white phosphorus by the IDF. 17 municipalities across southern Lebanon since October, according to HRW. So does the U.S. have any policy that with regard to the use of white phosphorus? So setting aside whether or not these individual incidents occurred.
Yeah. So white phosphorus is something that's commonly used in military operations to produce smoke, to obscure ground forces, mark locations, or provide illumination. And just the usage by itself is not something that's prohibited under international humanitarian law. But as with any type of military operation, civilians can't be targeted. If white phosphorus is used, precautions have to be taken to minimize harm to civilians, and it's incumbent on countries to use white phosphorus in ways that are consistent with international humanitarian law.
Are these incidents concerning that Human Rights Watch is saying that they were outside the bounds of?
So I've seen the reports, but that is the type of thing that we'd have to take a look at and assess before commenting in detail.
That was State Department spokesperson Matt Miller being questioned by The Intercept's Ryan Grimm. After one Israeli attack on October 15th, at least 2 people from the village of Bustan had to be rushed to the hospital after inhaling white phosphorus smoke. Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health says at least 173 people have been injured in the white phosphorus attacks, which have also caused hundreds of forest fires in Lebanon. For more, we go to Beirut, where we're joined by Ramzi Kais, a researcher in the Middle East and North Africa Division at Human Rights Watch, investigating human rights abuses in Lebanon, lead author of the group's new report called Lebanon, Israel's White Phosphorus Use Risks Civilian Harm.
The link is in the chat if you'd like to hear the interview. But yes, this is definitely going on. And it's very sad. Israeli settlers threatening to take back Gaza. Look at the age of these settlers who feel completely and utterly entitled to stop trucks, stop aid. Gee, where did they get that entitlement? Oh, their parents.
Certains ont à peine 12 ans, et aujourd'hui ces adolescents ont décidé de rater l'école pour empêcher l'aide humanitaire d'arriver à Gaza. La plupart viennent de colonies israéliennes en Cisjordanie occupée. Malgré leur jeune âge, ils parviennent à faire stopper et fouiller tous les camions qui se présentent là. Les chauffeurs se pressent d'obéir.
No picture.
Pourquoi est-ce que tu veux pas que cette aide arrive à Gaza?
אז יש להם יותר כוח, יש לחמאס יותר כוח להילחם, ואנחנו גם לא מביאים סיוע לאויב, ובסוף הם רוצחים, ולא מגיע להם סיוע.
This is so flippin' sad. You know, the propaganda machine to indoctrinate the children, the parents indoctrinating the children, and by 12 years old, they feel the power to stop trucks, search. We're not allowing aid to the enemies. Oh my God. I feel very sorry for this kid. Displaced Palestinians forced to swim in sewage-polluted seawater to escape the heat. The UN Secretary General and Israel, admit there is zero evidence of rape on October 7 after examining all of the 5,000 photos, 50 hours of video and audio from the day. And yet, mass rape charge continues. No matter how much evidence is provided that that did not take place, even the New York Times admitted it, still goes on, right? Forensic pathologist, digital analyst reviewed the photos, 5,000, 50 hours, several audio files. Okay, so, and Haaretz, an Israeli news publication. Beyond this, from inquiries put to 3 bodies in the defense establishment by Haaretz, it emerges that the intelligence material collected by the police and the intelligence bodies, including footage from terrorist body cameras, does not contain visual documentation of any acts of rape themselves. Journalist confronts German government over foreign minister's claim that she saw a rape video which does not exist.
Dann wurde mir parallel der Film gezeigt dessen, was nicht ich oder die israelische Regierung aufgenommen hat, sondern Hamas-Kämpfer mit ihren, wie heißen die, GoPro-Cameras an ihren Helmen.
Okay, so she's saying, at that time I was shown the film, which was not recorded by me or the Israeli government, but Hamas with their Progo videos on their helmets or something.
Aufgenommen hat, sondern Hamas-Kämpfer
GoPro.
mit ihren, wie heißen die, GoPro-Cameras an ihren Helmen. Und wissen Sie, was ich da gesehen habe? Das war das Schlimmste.
And do you know what I saw there? It was the worst thing you can imagine.
Was man sich vorstellen kann. Ich habe es mir angeschaut, weil ich
I watched it because I wanted to know. Because I wanted to know what happened there.
wissen wollte, weil ich wissen wollte, was dort passiert ist.
And people are shouting in the audience. Shouting in the audience because she's about to drop the lie. Despite all of the evidence, despite, well, the New York Times is the most prestigious publication in the world. New York Times, UN, Israeli publications, and Israeli government officials. She's going to lie.
Und zu erleben, wie eine
See a woman being raped in front of the camera.
Frau vor laufender Kamera vergewaltigt wird. Wollen Sie immer noch bei vergewaltigten Frauen dazwischen?
Do you want to interrupt when I am speaking about women being raped? Being raped on camera? Now, is this an actual human being? I don't even know. I don't know anymore. Because this human being who's talking right now could never do what this thing is doing. Never. First of all, I would be so ashamed because it's already come out. That was all a lie. It's already been established. There's no evidence. No evidence. How do people do this? Well, nobody's really listening, so I'll just continue playing it.
Herr Wagner, die Außenministerin hat am 26. Mai bei dem Demokratiefest erklärt, dass sie in Israel bei einer Videomaterial von GoPro-Kameras von Hamas-Kämpfern gesehen hätte, die gezeigt hätten, wie eine Frau vor laufender Kamera vergewaltigt worden sei. Diese Aussage hat international für relativ viel Aufsehen gesorgt, weil sowohl Vertreter des israelischen Verteidigungsministeriums als auch ein UN-Team unter Leitung von Pramila Patten, also der Sonderbeauftragten für sexuelle Gewalt in Konflikten, sind beide zu dem Schluss gekommen, nach umfangreichen Untersuchungen, dass ihnen keinerlei Video- und Fotoaufnahmen vorliegen, die die Vergewaltigung von Frauen durch Hamas-Kämpfer zumindest visuell belegen würden. Wenn ich ganz kurz die UN-Sonderbeauftragte zitieren darf: Bei der gerichtsmedizinischen Bewertung der verfügbaren Fotos und Videos konnten keine greifbaren Hinweise...
Ja, Herr Warwick, können Sie es vielleicht raffen?
Es ist ein Zitat, das in dem Themenkontext auch echt relevant ist.
Sie haben die Kernaussage ja schon gesagt. Es gehört ja durchaus zu unserer Profession, Dinge auch mal ein bisschen zu kürzen, damit wir zeitlich vorankommen.
Aber es gibt hier auch andere Kandidaten, da sind sie nicht ganz so streng, aber sei es drum. Meine Frage ist, ob vor diesem Hintergrund die Außenministerin bei ihrer Darstellung bleibt, dass sie höchstpersönlich entgegen den Aussagen des UN-Teams und auch israelischer Quellen dieses Material tatsächlich mit dieser visuell bestätigten Vergewaltigung gesehen hat.
Herr Warwick, ich kenne jetzt diese Aussagen und Berichte, auf die Sie sich beziehen, nicht. Insofern
ja, weil es mir verboten wird, die zu zitieren.
Nee, aber selbst wenn Sie sie zitieren, müsste ich sie ja in Gänze kennen. Ich meine, dass Sie dazu ja auch kommuniziert haben, auf Ihren sozialen Medien gesehen zu haben, dass es sich ja auf öffentlich verfügbares Material, also ganz grundsätzlich, ich glaube, es gibt keinen Zweifel, es besteht wirklich kein Zweifel daran, dass es beim Angriff der Hamas am 7. Oktober zu sexualisierter Gewalt und zu Vergewaltigungen kam. Ich glaube, es ist wirklich abscheulich, das hier in Abrede zu stellen.
Nachfrage?
Ja, dann, wenn ich es dann jetzt darf. Aus den israelischen Quellen, aus Anfragen von Haaretz an 3 Stellen des Verteidigungsapparates geht hervor, dass das von der Polizei und den Geheimdiensten gesammelte Material, einschließlich der Aufnahmen von Körperkameras der Terroristen, keine visuelle Dokumentation von Vergewaltigungen enthält. Es ist wirklich das erste Mal, dass eine europäische Politikerin von solchen Aussagen spricht. Damit relativiert man in keinster Form sexuelle Gewalt, aber zu sagen, sie hat sozusagen eine visuelle Bestätigung gesehen von etwas, von dem die UN und selbst israelische Stellen sagen, die gibt's nicht, ist ja schon Nummer. Deswegen würde mich interessieren, damit man das journalistisch verifizieren kann, könnten Sie bitte sagen oder dann nachreichen, an welchem Tag, in welcher Örtlichkeit und Begleitung welcher weiteren Vertreter des Auswärtigen Amtes Frau Baerbock sich diesen Videozusammenschnitt angeschaut hat.
Herr Warwick, die Aussagen der Ministerin stehen für sich, aber ich möchte noch einmal klar sagen, es besteht kein Zweifel daran, dass die Hamas am 7. Oktober bei ihrem Terrorangriff auf Israel Frauen vergewaltigt und sexualisierte Gewalt ausgeübt hat.
Das habe ich gar nicht Frage gestellt. Es geht um das
Doch, das tun Sie aber implizit in der Art und Weise, in der Sie Ihre Frage stellen.
Ja, ich stelle die Frage, ob die Aussage von Baerbock, dass sie das auf Video gesehen hat, was selbst Israelis verneinen, dass es das gibt als Videobeweis. Damit negiere ich in keinster Form sexuelle Gewalt. Die wurde auch von der UN-Sondergesandten entsprechend dokumentiert. Aber es ist ja schon was, wenn eine Außenministerin sagt, sie hat das als Videobeweis gesehen und alle anderen Quellen das explizit negieren. Ich habe es jetzt oft genug gesagt. Sowohl der israelische Geheimdienst als auch, als auch die UN.
Herr Warwick, Sie haben 2 Quellen zitiert und damit zu implizieren, dass das die Wahrheit ist einfach journalistisch nicht sauber, ehrlich gesagt.
Ich fürchte, Herr Warwick, an dem Punkt kommen wir jetzt hier gerade nicht weiter. Das war jetzt schon die quasi dritte, es war keine Nachfrage, sondern es artet jetzt in eine Diskussion ab. Daher, wenn es dazu keine weiteren Fragen gibt.
Yes, the truth degenerates discussion. The truth. Can't have truth. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Journalist critical of Israel fired from the Hill. And I happen to No, do I agree with everything that everyone says? No. But Brianna Joy, oh, I can't remember her last name, but she'll say it, got fired from the Hill because of her position on Israel.
Joy Gray from Rising.
Gray. How could I forget Gray? It's an easy name to remember.
The Hill's Rising. As many of you know, I was on Rising as one of their main hosts for a while. Brianna Joy Gray has been hosting the show with Robbie Suave for the last while. She has been fired from The Hill. She has announced it publicly. I've been in contact with her as well as with Robbie, as well as with others at The Hill. And it has been confirmed that she has been fired. She tweeted this out. She says, "It finally happened. The Hill has fired me. There should be no doubt that Rising has a clear pattern of suppressing speech, particularly when it's critical of the state of Israel. This is why they fired Katie Halper, and it was only a matter of time before they fired me. You can continue to follow me at Patreon, Bad Faith Podcast. She does have her own podcast that she's been doing and has continued to do for quite a while, so you can follow her there." And then she attached the letter that she received, the email that she received, June 6th, Brianna Joy Gray, they spelled her name wrong. "Notice of contract termination. Dear Brianna Joy, this is 30 days written notice that your consulting services agreement is being terminated pursuant to the provisions of Section 5.3 for convenience. Thank you for your contributions, and we wish you the best in your future endeavors. Sincerely yours, Next Star Media." Yeah, okay. The reason why now they're not confirming, Brianna just received this email, that was it. Robbie he says he's very upset. This was not something that Robbie wanted. I know
Robbie is somebody that is very often on the show with Brianna, and they get into it and they have arguments on the show, but it's obvious that it is about Brianna's position on what is going on in Gaza. How about this woman? Preventative arrest. This is what they're doing to people in Israel. That democracy, you know? So, how dare she speak out on what was happening. So Rasha Karim Harami, an Israeli Arab citizen who lives in Israel, you know, that great democracy, that inclusive democracy that is so not inclusive. It is just a state for Israelis. Arab citizen, lives in Israel, published a story on social media against Israel's activities in Rafah and was arrested for disturbing public order. The arrest, they blindfold her, you know, they put the zip ties on her. Arab citizen from the settlement in northern Israel, arrested on suspicion of disorderly conduct. Suspicion.
הבנת את החשדות נגדך? ואת הסכמות שלך?
Mic working now? A whole lot are experiencing repercussions, suffering the consequences for speaking out the truth. Speaking out against innocent people being killed off. Speaking out because so many children, now it's up to like 15,000 children being killed. And then countless injured. Can't have that. Cops tackle and arrest journalists covering Gaza protests and Zionist crackdown on the press. I'm just going to post the link should you want to watch it. Kim talks to a Zionist how Israel's war strategy is backfiring, and even Zionists, they don't have a monolithic thought pattern, but you know, it's almost listening to this interview, and it'd be interesting to get your feedback on this interview. I think Kim, you get a little bit scared, and good for her that she's interviewing the Zionists, but you can hear that you have to kind of soften your tone, and you have to, you know, kind of candy coat things that you say, and it's almost, I'm so tired of that. Enough. When you know people are in the wrong, despite, you know, an awful lot of truth coming out of the Zionist mouth, why are people so scared to really hold people accountable for what they do? I'll never understand. But this is one of the reasons why we're living what we're living. I will also put the link in to this interview with Gideon Levy, who I'll just play the first few minutes, you know. Well, I won't, because all he's saying is that, no, I will. Here.
Today we're talking with Gideon Levy, a veteran journalist with the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, and he's also author of The Punishment of Gaza. Great to be with you today, and thanks for joining us. Let me ask you about Israel and Israel's stance. I'm really interested in this question on what it means from your perspective to be pro-Israel in today's Israel.
I'll give you, Steve, my opinion, which is not a very common one. Being a real, genuine friend of Israel means to push Israel to put an end to this war. Being a genuine friend of Israel who cares about its future means put pressure on Israel to put an end to the apartheid and to the occupation. Nothing but this. What the Americans are doing and others is, you know, like a drug addict. Supply the drug addict with more money. He will be very happy about it. He will buy more drugs. But that's not friendship, and that's not care.
And that is right. And that is true across the board. When you're talking about what a government is doing in a country, when you're talking about a military, what they are doing in the country, and when you're talking about just individual relationships. When you care about someone, you will hold them accountable. You will hold them accountable if you care about people. Why? Because you want to lift them up. You want to lift them up and show them their better self. You'd like them to be walking on a higher road. But not a lot of people do. Yeah, going after Beirut, Damascus, Syria, Lebanon.
יום שחרור עזה, 57 שנים, עזה, יפיע, ח'אן יונס. 19 שנה חיכתה ירושלים עד שעם ישראל חזר אליה. 19 שנים היינו פה בגוש קטיף עד שחזרנו לגוש קטיף, חזרנו לרפיח, חזרנו לח'אן יונס, חזרנו לעזה שלנו. בעזרת השם, נלך ונוסיף, ובקרוב נגיע גם לדמשק וגם לביירות. יום שחרור עזה.
This is so beyond, and this is the most moral army in the world, right? Get rid of all of the people there that it is their home, their land. No, get rid of them because it's ours. It's ours. And yeah, Israel is dropping white phosphorus South Lebanon. They can't control the narrative because too much has been seen. The link is in the chat. My mic button, the mute button sticks sometimes. And Howie Mandel, he was an actor. He's so like a nobody to me, but the link is in the chat. We can listen to this, how Howie is saying, no, there's a lot to be scared about. There's so much anti-Semitism. And the guy that is on the show is saying, no, there really isn't. I'll play just a few minutes.
Actually meets the real world and gets his mind blown, just like Bill Maher happened when he got interviewed by Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly. He was introduced to all kinds of facts he didn't know.
Yeah, what is it with these germaphobe misers? They don't know about stuff.
So here is
Stern should have masks all the time.
Yes. So Howie Mandel is perplexed that Ari Shaffir isn't concerned with anti-Semitism, and Ari even says Iran is great for Jews. Wait a minute, what?
Oh, that guy, that already pushes buttons.
Here we go. Watch this.
There were 3 Jews sitting here. Have you felt the? Are you feeling the fucking? We're back in the glove, dude. We're back. Center of attention again. I love it. Really? Oh yeah. We were a joke before. Now we're taking it seriously. Who else wants some? You're seeing the positive in this? Yeah, dude. We're fucking. He likes attention. Yeah, we're back. Before we were just some like joke, like I remember the tribe, like little light things. Now people take it seriously. Seriously? Go ahead, keep pushing the students. See when we push back. It's horrible. It's not horrible. It doesn't happen. It's statistically irrelevant. It's repeating on the news too much. None of it's really happening. Are you I've been all over the me? country. I've seen no actual anti-Semitism. Have you? You look Jewish.
Yeah,
you walked around, people yelled Jew at you or something?
I don't go out. All right, you can listen to this. I'll put the link in again. Sometimes, Jimmy Dore, you speed up the videos, which I understand why, but sometimes you speed them up a little bit too fast, and you have to really pay attention to what the person is saying. So much, man. So much cruelty, so much... It's like the evil ego is all around us. And we needed good soldiers pushing it back. We didn't have them. And I don't mean soldier in military sense. We just needed the good people to do something. So here we are. And I hope you all stay safe. We're heading into something that, try to imagine the worst thing that you see, and then spread it out, and you see it a lot, because not good things are coming. So you need to be the good that comes into your community. We all need to be the good that comes into our community. We need to work on ourselves to become trustworthy human beings. You can tell them by their consistency. They don't ignore you when you ask for something or you're trying to resolve something. They live honestly and they speak honestly, and it's consistent. They're mature human beings. And that is what is absolutely demanded of us, especially now, when we see so many who just don't have that in them. So help those in your community. Be a power of example. And on that note, I say thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night, and be very aware of your surroundings. Be very alert to what is happening. And good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.